Mozambique Center for Democracy and Development has held a policy webinar, and that was yesterday. It's titled Conflict Resolution in Cabo Delgado, Exploring Opportunities. One of the speakers is Piers Pigou from the International Crisis Group. He's joining us now on the Midday View just to unpack to us what came out of this webinar yesterday. Piers, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Very busy week for you, and I see this dialogue was taking place under the platform Business, Security and Human Rights. There's very little of that happening for the people of Cabo Delgado since the conflict has been escalating over the last 4 years. For you, just let's start at a high level. Was this a very useful engagement yesterday?
I think, Dan, and good afternoon to you and the viewers. I think this was an important sort of marker in the sand. I wouldn't overemphasize its impact, but it's the beginning of a conversation that needs to be really invested in terms of looking for sustainable solutions in Cabo Delgado, but beyond Cabo Delgado. I mean, the issues that were raised have implications around governance and dealing with issues of state capture and all these kinds of problems that we see not only in Mozambique, but in many parts of the Southern Africa region. So, yes, it was an important conversation, the fact that it was there. I don't think there were enough Mozambican voices at the table, but as I said, you know, this is part of an ongoing process that one hopes will be scaffolded and rolled forward in the coming weeks and months and years.
Yeah, from the blurb I saw ahead of this dialogue or this conversation, there was supposed to have been participation by Colonel Omar Saranga of the Mozambique National Defense Force. Did he take part, and what were his views?
Yes, he did, and he was the first speaker. It may be that the video that was sent out didn't capture his input, which I think is a shame. I mean, essentially, and Colonel Saranga has been participating in a lot of these seminars recently, a series of seminars around what's known as the Voluntary Principles on Human Rights and Security, which is an attempt to engage in dialogue between business, civil society and government in the extractive sectors. And this is also another initiative tied to the one we're talking about from the Center for Democracy and Development. And Colonel Saranga really put on the table an acknowledgement from the government that, yes, there are other options other than military options for dealing with the conflict in Cabo Delgado. But I think we shouldn't shy away from the fact that there are immediate security issues that need to be addressed. It's how one addresses them, and to ensure that the manner in which you address those and the humanitarian calamity that is facing the people of Cabo Delgado doesn't make the situation worse. So what it demonstrated was a clear positioning from at least the Ministry of Defense on this, that they were open to the issue of dialogue. And that, I think, is an important statement. How that translates into practice, of course, has yet to be seen.
Yeah, if they're open to dialogue, how do you move forward? What was shared yesterday about possible strategic considerations for such dialogue to take place to end the conflict in Cabo Delgado?
Well, I think it at the essence is a challenge of securing political will. That was a key issue. How do you get power brokers in the Mozambican state and other stakeholders to buy into this kind of process, to look for win-win sustainable solutions that invest in inclusiveness, including people. We heard a lot about that yesterday, and participatory processes, the kind of language that we heard in South Africa for a long time about our democracy, inclusive processes, improved measures of accountability, building institutional capacity and integrity, all very nice objectives. But the real challenge is being able to navigate from theory and plans of action into implementation. And that's where you need existing places like the Mozambique state and the kind of challenges that one has to secure that kind of buy-in. So that's why I said on the outset, this is really very much the beginning of a process. And the fact that this conference held is important because these kinds of conversations have not been held previously. So certainly in relation to the challenges in Cabo Delgado.
Yeah, Piers, would like to explore further on this, but your bandwidth has just gone so low. We're beginning to lose you there. Apologies for that. It's right at the end there. But there's a lot still to unpack. There were a number of speakers in that webinar, and we'll try and hook up with them here on the Midday View in the coming days.